horse drifted alarmingly in the betting was, Fensler in the morning continued to drift. He was late on the exchanges to lose. It was something you'd see in a Dick Francis novel, Charles Buttons.
The ground is soft. It's
heavy.
It's soft on times.
It's heavy.
Okay.
Hello and a warm welcome. It's that time of week again. Yes, it's Sunday sermon time. And of course, my two favourite cohorts in the Bar Stewards Inquiry are here to chew the fat with me on events that's taking place this week and also a racing review, etc., etc. So, good evening, Mr. John Leng, and good evening, Chris.
Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Should be a barnstormer, this. Said no one.
Say it every week.
Usually when we think it's going to be rubbish, they turn out better than they do. But
Yes, that's true.
anyway, but this probably won't.
Yeah.
The Not Totally Shit Racing Podcast. Review time. And as we are stereotyped as flat people that hate the country types, the Hooray Henrys jumping 4.5-foot fences these days, we'll review Sandown on Friday, John. And I'm thinking, you might have a bit to say about a few on this card. I've got two that we must be following and backing over the next 6 weeks or so. So I'm interested because we haven't conferred yet.
No.
I haven't had time to read your notes yet. So I don't know what you've put down for yesterday. So this is raw. Bar Stewards Raw review.
I think I'm in early onset dementia as well, so I might not even remember what I put in my notes.
Raw. You're going in without lube.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 150 was the Escher Cup.
Risha.
Well, if I say a Burnham, then I've got to say Escher, haven't I?
Tisha.
And I can't pronounce anything.
Oh.
An idiot. Escher Cup then, John. Sorry.
Right.
Sorry.
Sorry.
What was Stout's best runner in Escher Cup?
Insatiable, I think. Oh, shit, no, Sharif Dancer, wasn't it?
Woohoo! Sharif Dancer in an Escher Cup.
You're going great.
That's us at minute, that.
Yeah.
We can get future champion beat by some rat on debut.
Yeah.
So the Escher Cup, as John has definitely kicked my arse there. I've got one in here, John, that I particularly like going forwards, and it is the second placed horse, Seraph Gabriel. I thought he'd done amazing from 2 to 3. You're our paddock expert, so I'd be interested to hear what you think about it. But just to note about it, came off very well off the sectionals. Will Buick outrode Rosser, really. He penned him in on 5th column, quickened to the front, did 5th column to sort of put the race to bed. And Seraph Gabriel only got going late. And I thought there was a bit to work on with Seraph Gabriel fitness-wise as well.
I did as well, actually. I was surprised he kept going as long as he did, to be honest.
Yeah, and he was strong through the line.
Mm-hmm.
The pedigree says he'll probably peak around 1.25 miles. He's rated 91. He's probably going to go up £3 for that to probably 94. Again, I like to do the thing where we earn them. What we're doing next with him. So you've got the Suffolk at Newmarket at the Guineas meeting.
Yeah.
That'd be too close, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You've got the Royal London at Newbury over 10.
Everybody likes that, don't they?
Yeah.
You'd be hard pressed to swerve that with him.
Yeah, so I reckon he's Royal London bound, middle of May, that's about right.
Because then if you win that, you're nicely tied up at Hampton Court, aren't you, at Ascot?
Yeah, or maybe Golden Gates, if they fancy.
Yeah.
Depends. If it pisses up in Royal London, then they'd probably go Hampton Court. If, say, don't win that or it just wins narrowly or something, they might think, well, just keep it handicapping for now, Golden Gates. I'm glad you agree with me physically there.
Yeah, he's done all right, yeah.
So I'm not totally stupid in terms of paddock if John's agreeing with me on that one. Would he be the one you'd take out of that as well?
Absolutely. I also thought Tilted Kilt ran quite well.
Yep.
Coming from the back. I wouldn't have said that had a lot of scope for physical improvement.
Yep.
But I thought that ran a nice race and showed a good attitude. That should find a race of some description this year.
Yeah, way he moves. I think I'd like to see him back on all-weather.
Yeah, of course it was.
The second to dividend on the all-weather was a nice run after an absence. I just think he's probably still to prove it on turf yet.
Mm.
But we'll see. Could be completely wrong. But I agree he came from a crap position in that. We'll move on to the Gordon Richards. 10 furlong Group 3 race won by Al Arzi. Anything take your eye here physically, or something need the run in your opinion?
I thought Al McQuam looked a little bit stuffy and will come on for it. I also feel that ground was just riding on the dead side away a bit. One or two of these others, I think Say the Fire was struggling on it. I don't think she got a lot of purchase out of it. Thought her wheels were spinning a bit, if you get me.
Again, for listeners, if you're playing this meeting next year, you'd be aware that the clerk obviously puts plenty on for the Dash Lump meeting that's being run on the Saturday. Naturally, he tends to over-egg it a bit, doesn't he? He just puts that little bit too much on, I feel, at this time of year for proper fast ground flat horses. So it's something to bear in mind if you're making selections next year. But John thinks Al McQuam needed the run a little bit, and See the Fire didn't act under conditions and will be better on a quicker surface.
I wouldn't be surprised to see her turn out at York, actually, in something like that. What used to be the Middleton graduation race, it's now a Group 2, is it? Something? Group 3?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
If we had a dry spell going into York, I wouldn't be surprised to see her turn up in that and run an awful lot better.
Yes, she ran some cracking races last season, of course.
Including one at York, didn't
Yes,
she?
winning Strensel Stakes, of course.
Yeah, we love it when one goes back to York. I mean, Jonas at the races.
Yeah, she beat the Colts that day, which was eye-catching, and then ran behind Tam Farner and then Ann Matt. She bottled no challengers last year and ran very well, so I'd be interested to see her possibly back in Phillies only company as well.
Yeah.
On an extra run on quick ground. So the Bet365 mile Group 2 affair, I remember it as a kid as the Trust House 40 mile.
Yes.
That's what it used to be. Trust House 40. Were they travel lodges or something?
Hotels, yeah.
Hotels, weren't they? Yeah. God, back in the day. And Dancing Gemini, an incredibly impressive winner. Though, to be fair, he did have a nice trip. Everything sort of panned out lovely for him.
Ground race as well.
Yeah, it's a horse, John, I think he's probably going to win a Group 1, but not probably a vintage Group 1. I don't think he's good enough.
Say win a German Group 1.
If they find the right race for him.
I think the Lockinge Queen Anne Roger Taylor was talking about after the race, I think he's getting his hopes up a bit.
Yeah.
Because I think if the Lockinge and Queen Anne are on quick ground, I would think Sarah Forth would be the best this could be hoping for.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Unbelievably, the one to take out the race was Cicero's Gift. I know you'd say that. Off moderate fraction, the horse has had a wind up and clearly has benefited from it. So he's ran really well. And it's frustrating for some of us, like this horse for the Lincoln and back to Antipost for the Lincoln, because on this run, it would have won the Lincoln, wouldn't it?
Yeah, probably.
It's annoying that anyone that had Antipost vouchers on Cicero's Gift. It is the way of the world.
You could always back it to that mile handicap at the Ledger meeting, because that's next time it'll be competitive, isn't it?
The problem is, as we know with Charlie, is that they don't often back up, and this is a problem that we have with the trainer. It's just one of them. We like the horse in question. We think he's really good. It's whether it goes on from that and whether it gets a daft place in next, like something like the Lockinge, which he's probably daft enough to do.
Lockinge on quick ground, that's where it'll be next.
Yeah, which is certainly not the place to be for Cicero's Gift, who we'd like an easier target on easier ground.
You get outpaced in a quick ground Lockinge, and then they'll go up to 10 furlongs for the Wolferton at Ascot.
Yeah.
There'll be about 9th in that.
Yeah.
And then after that, we probably won't see him until he'll maybe go running something like the Bradford and Bingley off top weight at York Eber meeting.
Yeah, something like that.
So you can see the season going, really.
Yes, I can sort of see that happening, John. We come on to the Classic Trial. Did you see any potential Classic winners?
I think not.
No.
I wasn't all that impressed with the field, to be honest. I didn't see a great deal of difference in Windlord from last year. I was a bit disappointed with him by the look of him. The one I thought had done reasonably well, but looked badly in need of it, was that Sir Dinadan, Rafe Beckett. I thought that would come on an absolute ton for the run. But how good he is, I couldn't really hazard a guess on this show. He's better than what he showed there because he can be made fitter.
Yes, it certainly was noted, I think, on the day about Sir Dinadan's appearance by some of the racing TV people. That they felt he was pretty behind. And it's interesting that Rafe and Ralph especially the colts, they're leaving them quite short for reappearance. And I mean, one or two examples of that. Not all, but I could see Rafe and Ralph having a pretty darn good May on what I'm seeing with some of their runners.
Yeah, the same as well. You start coming to the semi. You can start to say he's getting ready to throw the switch at the gimmies rating.
Yes, could be a yards keep on side. Yeah. I thought Swagman did it quite nice in the end. Still looks a bit green. But I was very disappointed in the favourite Windlord because I didn't see this last year, but he definitely hung quite markedly left-handed when it got serious. And I don't like to see that hung into Swagman. And it's something that I was disappointed with it. I did expect a lot better from Windlord.
Yeah, knackers off.
It could have to be, I'm afraid, because the run behind Hot as Hell, I thought he shaped better than what Swagman did when he ran against Hot as Hell. Because Windlord was ridden terribly. He was held up out the back, never getting in it.
Very underwhelmed with him on a 7 prey race yesterday, I thought.
That's interesting. So my second one that we're going to be following, the 4:45 race, it was a Jeff Beck IO Silver Lining Memorial Handicap. Yeah. Gunship.
Oh my God, yeah.
This was a very odd ride from O'Shea Murphy, I felt. I really did feel that.
He knows different to ride Sandown like that, doesn't he?
Yes, it's not where I'd have had him if he sits fourth or fifth. Whether he beats the impressive winner is open to debate. That did it quite well, but it did have the run of the race. But nevertheless, Gunship is going to be a horse to follow over 10 furlongs, maybe a little bit further. Going ahead, he's been well entered up, got big entries for a horse rated, 82 in the Derby and the Irish Derby. And he was in the Dante, they obviously took him out of that. It's a horse that's going to make hay soon. And again, is it one of them, they've got another target for me. If that was the target to win that, then it wasn't ridden in the way that you'd want it ridden to win that. So
surely he goes London Gold Cup next, doesn't he?
Yeah, it could be a coconut, because then if Seraph Gabriel turns up...
Yeah, plus about 15 others.
Yeah, could be a hell of a London Gold Cup, that one.
Each one of them races that's sort of taking off now, isn't it?
It's the race that everyone goes for and decides where they run at Royal Ascot after. Yeah. Whether they go handicapping or whether they go, we might go stakes.
Yeah, it's a nice little slot in the calendar, that.
Key race 4. Just remarking on yesterday, did you see Kilbeggan at all?
No.
So there was a big hoo-ha yesterday at Kilbeggan. I say yesterday, 2 days ago at Kilbeggan. Powerful of the green and gold.
Nice.
Powerful was probably the best horse, comfortably, got no whip. But clearly they were on the other McManus horse that won, because the rider just didn't do the whip, didn't go for anything. There was an official stewards with a jockey stating that, yes, doesn't respond for the whip. He might do when the cash is down. Doesn't respond for the whip. Remember that one?
Your man hadn't backed it, so we didn't hit the fucking thing there. That's it.
Your man wasn't on, yeah.
Your man wasn't on there. We had told you, put the fucking handbrake on now, yeah.
I've just watched it now. It's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, they don't fuck about over there.
He's basically let the other one win.
Yeah,
we got a few quid out.
They don't fuck about.
Not a few fucking runs there. Every country watching him now. We'll bury him next time.
You might have to wait 3 or 4 runs before that's
Oh,
up
yeah.
again.
Never next time. Every country be looking for him now. He'll be out the back now. A few, four fucking times. You look out for him in August or fucking September. That's when we'll be having a few quid on.
Listowel Harvest Festival.
Yes, correct. Like something of that nature. I'm sure they'll be making hay in the Listowel Harvest Festival.
So it seemed like the big great man and JP was probably on part that.
Yes.
Given that was 11 to 10 fav. 15 to 18 to 11 to 10, that one.
Yeah, they beat it to death, didn't they, effectively? Get that home.
Yeah, it had about 47 smacks, and other one just hands and heels, you know.
Electrodes on its penis to get it home, you know. It was fucking everything. Every possible implement was employed.
Yeah, absolute disgrace, really. Right, that brings us nicely on to Twitter topic this week. Me and Chris were talking to Simon Knott on Twitter. Simon asked a question of us, and that's what we're here to do, answer them. So Simon says, I was quite shocked that Lee said it's more prevalent than ever. Or can I say prevalent, John, to annoy you?
Prevalent. Prevalent. You can prevalent.
If you want to really annoy me, you say prevalent.
Say it then.
Is it Chipotle or Chipotle?
Chipotle.
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 And it's Chernobyl, not Chernobyl, as people rip into me. I say Chernobyl.
Chernobyl.
Laugh. Chernobyl.
So, is it more prevalent than I ever?
Yes, it is.
Than I ever believed that bookmakers still lay dead ones without incriminating anyone. Of course, how regularly does Lee hear of it happening? And would it be strong enough info he'd get involved in the race if he heard about it? Well, of course.
Fucking hell, cool.
If I'm said, might not be a fav, it could be a third fav or a second fav that's having a run out. Bookmakers are just the same as punters. We're all in it to win. We're all in it for an edge. If a bookmaker gets a reliable piece of info from someone that they trust, that this one isn't busy, then you can bet your life that they want to take every sovereign out of it on track. That's a fact. How often does it happen? I'm not really on course these days, but I know of current ones that do get warm stuff. I have to say it as warm stuff, as in it could be a particular jockey that's
I'm getting an erection now
out
when you said warm stuff, Lee. I like a bit of warm stuff. This is what we want. We're not fucking spreadsheets and pace maps and that shit. Give us warm stuff. That's what we want.
Modelers, put your fucking models in the bin.
Yeah, shove it up your ass. We want non-jiggers.
Say with fucking going stick.
Yeah, shove it up your
Models
ass.
need to be in the bin with the sticks. Yeah, and then we can all have a fucking knees up with James Sanderson.
Quite right. Free entry for all for the rest of our lives. Yeah.
So Simon, obviously, I was on course as a teenager a lot because obviously I was clerking certain people, usually my father or locally based bookmakers on dog tracks, things like that. And of course, info comes through, and it was happening back then. I know of certain books now that bookmake on course that get that sort of information. And I respect that non-triers, to say it as a non-trier, sometimes it's like, this shouldn't be winning today, but you don't tell the jockey, so to speak, where you know that you're running over wrong trip, wrong track, wrong ground, and you think you can't win. So there's that kind of won't be winning today. And then they do. You might give the jockey the wrong tactics, say drop it out at Ripon over at Mile, and then they still come through and win. It happens. That happens. But not the ones where the jockey's telling the bookmaker, take 1,000 out of this for me, will you?
Yeah, Graham Bradley, fuck me. Simon's sort of claiming it does it happen. Well, Brian Wright, Graham Bradley. Come on, you know.
Yeah, Miles Rogers.
Miles Rogers, yes, Fergal.
What, the bloke out at Sheik?
Out of what?
The bloke out at Sheik.
What, Miles Rogers?
Well, it was Niles Rogers, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Sorry.
for fuck's sake. Try and keep up. I know we're boring, but yeah.
It was the Fergal Lynch.
As you know, I had that card for a while. Yeah. Fucking Fergal says not the day, or Fergal says don't have your
cost
bollocks
Fergal
on.
Lynch the Stout job. Fergal Lynch would probably have gone on to ride for Stout, but then this happened.
South Atlantic.
Yeah. Bookmakers will do anything to get an edge. I have got tales and stories, but I can't air them.
No.
Especially as people are still alive. When they're all dead, I might.
You have to outlive them first.
If we outlive...
I'll give you a clue without the naming anyone. He's a trainer now that used to be a jockey. And yeah, I was present at a certain course one day when, yes, the orders were sent. Take me a few quid out of this, will you? Yeah. 100%. Come on, Mr. Knotts. Bookmakers aren't going to tell everybody. I openly admit this goes off.
And only the biggest books would get it anyway. Mainly the rails or the big boards, the fiddlers, etc. wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, there was a really strange post from someone that claimed they'd worked in the game for 30 years in the actual trading room industry kind of thing, and said that they'd never seen anything like this go off. And it's like, hang on a minute.
The traders wouldn't know anyway. You fucking look at Cyril Stein and Ladbrokes. He's going to go around and tell everyone, so yeah, Piggott says this or whatever, or this is no good. Bollocks. Of course they're not going to know. And it's absurd. It's so ludicrous to suggest that it doesn't go on. It's just a mad question. I think he's pulling your chain, to be honest.
I just found it surprising because obviously I've witnessed it myself. It's not something that I'm new to, and to see in 30 years he'd not seen anything. He sounded like Kevin Darley at the PGA.
Yeah, that's right.
Kevin Darley came out. Do you remember this, John, when he said he's been in the weighing room all this time and he's never known a horse being stopped?
And that's because Johnny Sager, Dandy Nichols and Tony Ives were getting together and letting him fucking win. He was always on the try.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. You got it.
Give him easy lead.
Yeah.
Because he'll try every time. That's probably it. Kevin Darley, he's, like you said, there's some jockeys in this game that you know are absolutely trying for their lives 99% of the time. And that's because that's what they are. And there's certain jockeys that we associate with in this game that if you fancied it strong, you would have to watch the betting before placing a wager. That's how it is. Mentioning no names because, like you say, the old legal department are getting excited. So it was a good subject. Anyway,
Yeah,
I
it
hope
is.
you
Very good
appreciate us bringing it up, Simon, not just our experiences in the game. Doesn't mean to say that it's rife now. I don't know if it is, if it isn't. I just know that there's certain bookmakers out there doing that sort of thing.
Send us the DM if you get anything, those bookmakers. Get on to us. We need to know.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mark the Barstew's card. We'll love.
Fucking come on. If
Yes.
you don't pay for this shit, give us something for nothing, eh?
Absolutely. Let's all have a few quid. Marcus Clitheroe said, any opinion on the flat horse Gethin, John?
Yeah, it's all right.
I'm no flight expert, but was mightily impressed with his seasonal debut, 25-1 for the Derby. Do you see him acting round Epsom?
Yeah, he's well balanced enough. I think he'll be all right. Whether he's good enough, I don't know.
Hard, isn't it, to work out that?
I wasn't convinced that he was going to break Falconer.
No.
He was going as good, but I felt Falconer still had more to give. And how good the overall form is, I don't know. The Dante will tell us an awful lot more about the horse.
Yeah, it's one of them. It's quite difficult to evaluate, in my opinion.
I think 25-1 is reasonable at the minute.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be taking any shorter, and I don't feel as though I want to back him at that price. It's probably the right price. If you pissed up in a Dante and he was still on offer at 60, you'd maybe want to back him then, I don't know.
Yeah, and of course, news came to the Barstew's HQ today that Ryan Moore is going to ride Twain in next week's 2,000 guineas, and he's a horse that will stay a lot further than a mile. Is that Ballydoyle's number one at this stage? You'd have to say yes, wouldn't you, John?
Yeah, you'd probably say that's the Derby horse.
Yeah, so apparently he's working very well, the best of them so far. So that's the Ballydoyle runner in the Guineas this week with Ryan Moore, booked to ride Twain. On to the Trainers' Championship.
Yay!
Which we're all bored to tears with. To be honest, this is like a gravy train mainstream media.
The press and the TV people need to grasp this nettle that nobody outside of the media, the telly, and the trainers' immediate families gives a flying frog's fat ass about the outcome of this, don't they?
It depends. If you are a racing fan, just likes the sport, whatever, you'll have an interest. But for somebody like myself, where I accuse myself of being selfish, where I only really care about backing winners and...
But that's the whole nature of the game, isn't it? What ITV and, well, everybody else promoted this nonsense. What they can't seem to get their heads around is racing isn't football. We're not all sat there in Willie Mullins' underpants cheering every winner that he has.
Yeah.
If we ain't backed him, we don't give a fuck whether he never has another winner.
No.
None of it.
It's true. I get tired of listening to it. I've been tired of all the promos this week.
It's because they're so divorced the narrative away from the fact that people watching will have had a bet on the outcome of this particular race, the next race.
Yeah.
That we're left with this nonsense.
I don't know, though. I'm trying to be objective and look at it from like how other people see this. And do you remember when there were that big Titanic battle between Cawthon and Eddery for Flat Jockey's title?
Yeah.
It went literally to wire. They were both riding about 40 runners a day. And
yeah,
I did take interest in that, but I were a bit younger then. That's the last time I think I took interest in it.
Yeah, I couldn't give a fuck about that one either, to be honest.
You're a complete purist. So, like, just some questions on it, because obviously you've asked, and we'll touch on it. Ian Mackey, Racing Media trying to rehabilitate Mr. Skelton at every turn.
Good question. Yes.
Pointing out how unfair it is that Willie is running so many horses in the big races. Willie comes across well with the public. It's no contest, perhaps. It's jealousy. They never say Willie started with nothing, unlike Dan.
But he didn't start with
I didn't think either of them started with nothing.
No.
I'm going to say Dan's from Skelton family, innit? It's the show jumpers. It's Nick Skelton.
Yeah. I think he means Willie Mullins sort of grafted his way up, but he didn't. He comes from a huge dynasty. Not to take away from his impressive level of skill, but he's hardly a council estate kid, is he? I don't get the point.
No, Ice Cold Cube, Mullins wins the title, having only tried for the last 6 weeks. Kind of makes a mockery of the whole thing. A shattered fat Dan interviewed on ITV. How you feeling? Crap, etc. It's like I said, because we've got no interest. It's hard to have an opinion other than that.
Couldn't care less.
It's obviously a stupid concept. If a trainer can just up his amount of runners in the UK for the last 6 weeks of the season, it shows you how stupid it is anyway. And it shows you how stupid national racing's gone, where that can happen. In other words, we've forgot about rest of the calendar. Fuck the prize money for rest of the calendar. It's all about the spring and the big festivals, and that's it. Like you said, that's what national racing's turned into. No one gives a shit what won back in November anymore, or what won in December, or that's the bad thing. Brampton File says national trainer style, everyone seems to give Willie a free pass on not being a cunt. I should see you next Tuesday. Swearing. If you've got kids and you're listening to this, you have to put earphones on. Sorry.
Put them in care. That's what I say. Yeah, if you let them listen to this.
Exactly. If you're listening to us, you should be in care, really.
Fucking social should be banging on the door,
He thinks it's just out of order, all this. Willie just running 10 in one race just to win a trainer's title. But again, it's a nothing burger for the bastard. We just think, well, whatever you want.
Don't give a shit. No, it's like Ben Johnson entering the dad's race at school sports day, isn't it? That's what it's like. But a juiced up Ben Johnson as well.
And still taking his drugs,
yeah, fucking doing a line at the halfway mark. It's mad. It just shows you the paucity of equine talent in this country that Willie Mullins can sort of say 6 weeks before the end of the season, do you know what, I fancy winning it again, fuck it, just send a few boats over and we'll mop up. It's a cause of great concern. It ought to be for domestic trainers.
Then again, I'm one of these, if it got racing publicity, wider media, then I'm probably for them going on about it. It's just that I don't care at all.
Nah, couldn't give a shit.
Next topic, which is an important one, of course, because what has taken place this week is the power of social media. This is where pressure was exerted on Ladbrokes /Entain to pay out a winning punter from Ireland who worked for the Declan Quealy yard. Oi.
We had a few quid on there, €30 each way there. Contained us out. Fuck them. Yeah.
It's good. So the pain of Dylan Phelan that had a €30 each way bet on 2 horses that won at very large prices. I think it was 80s, 125s. He was due 330 or so K, I believe. And they've now agreed to pay, thanks to social media pressure. It shows what power it has. 100,000, which is their actual limit. Do you remember back in day when they'd sometimes have rules like this? It races in England.
They had a big limit on night racing, didn't they?
Yeah.
Before the shops opened, then the limits came off when the shops were open.
But if they felt they were going to benefit publicity-wise, i.e. it's going to be on front page at Sun, they'd sometimes pay a full amount.
Yeah.
Because if it made front page at Sun, man wins million for
a
£2 bet. It gets everybody thinking, oh, well, Ladbrokes have paid out £1 million for a £2 bet. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
They used to view it differently to what they do now. Now they just view it as like, fucking...
How can we get out of paying this?
We're not paying the cunts. It's like betting with Mafia, where you have these unregulated bookies and you win 50 grand with them.
Unlike the old days, these firms, they now have these absolute fucking ghouls at the top who don't actually believe they're entitled to any kind of losing day.
No.
And if they have a losing day, they want to know why. And then secondly, they want to know if they can get out of it.
Well, yeah, that seems to be tactic, doesn't it? Because obviously bookmakers, particularly online ones, and in the shops, can't just defend the shops. They're probably the good guys are the on-course books because obviously they appear with a smile now and again. And but you're playing obviously at odds that are a bit cramped and you're going to struggle to beat on-course books as a rule of thumb. Back in the day, they used to pay out with a smile. You'd be on front page at Sun if you won $1 million from Ladbrokes off, say, a 50 pence lucky 15. And that's how it was. Brilliant publicity. Now they're not bothered about publicity. They don't care. Well, they do. If they're getting the right slating on social media, it seems, they'll pay. But what do you think to them only paying the 100 and not honouring the full amount? There's not even no interest here. At least you should have interest on a year.
There's no clamour for it on social media, is there? If there was a lot of people campaigning and saying, look, you shouldn't be having this limit, you fucking dirty bastard, all this, then you might get some action. But because the response is prompting further action from Entain, have been a bit thin on the ground, they're probably of the view, look, we've paid the fucker out, it's all going to go quiet in a fortnight anyway. let's just leave it at that and keep the 200.
I just find it weird how they don't want good publicity. If I'm CEO now of Entain,
Yeah,
I pay him the full amount, shake his
Yeah.
hand, apologise. It makes the front pages.
yeah.
And then your company gets more good PR out of that one decision.
Right, but would you want wider attention drawn to your firm's previous actions where you've tried to get out of making the payment?
I think if you've got the temerity to say that we're sorry with an apology, that we should have paid out sooner on this, you could spin it with some like we were waiting on investigation and and all this. And you could spin it how you want. By coming across like that, punters then look on it favourably. To be honest, with the amounts we're talking about, what Entain make a year, it's absolutely peanut. For the sake of that and good PR, they've done the right thing. At least they did the right thing. You've got out of it. Now you're using your T&Cs, and we'll come on to this now because Patrick has a good question for us. Do bookmakers have to log their terms and conditions with anyone? And if and when there are any changes, do they have to tell you? Well, I know online, when online books do it,
They email you, don't they?
how many fuckers read them?
No one. Caveat emptor, though, isn't it? Buyer beware.
The same as the terms and conditions that's on display in the shop. Nobody reads them, do they?
No, nobody reads them.
Until they bust a limit or something, and then they're all average.
What he's insinuating is, Patrick, what they could do is, after a large winning bet, they could just do what they're doing now, delay payment.
Yeah.
And whilst they're delaying payment, sneakily change the terms and conditions. And it'd be up to the bettor to prove that they've changed them. And most people haven't got the brains to beans on toast. So you're not going to get a situation where they change the terms and conditions 2 months later to lower all the limits. Let's lower them all down. So when he does win, will he notice that we changed them on this particular date?
No, he's still trying to make beans on toast.
Well, what I'm trying to get at. Patrick, that's an interesting point.
I don't think they would realistically. It'd be very, very easy to.
They're showing up if they got caught doing that without any bit.
It wouldn't happen. The downside of them doing that would be catastrophic in terms of engineering the terms and conditions just to reduce payment after a bet has been struck. All the punter would need to go back and say, well, on the day I struck this bet, your T's and C's had the limit at X. There you go. So they can't alter it after the fact. I think that's fanciful to suggest that they would.
It's fucking fanciful, mate.
It's fanciful, fucking slag cunt bastards, shithouses. That's from our legal correspondent as well.
There's definitely no apple clean rating tonight.
No, that's that council's opinion we've had. Yeah.
Jeff Lynch makes a good point. If it's the case where you're only allowed to win €100,000 if you're betting on sort of Irish off meat, whatever it is.
Off meat, yeah.
Off
Real meat. That's pretty
flapping.
Fucking, on a hook after them at the end of the week. Yeah, go on.
Why did they take that stake if it exceeded the payout?
You can't expect cashiers to be aware of
what
a bet's taking out.
No, but computerised.
They're only scam though, aren't they? They're not.
No, but the system can be done. It can work out.
Yeah, it could.
It's not an hard thing to program. If you can only win 100k, it knows what you win because it prints the winnings on your betting slip.
It does. You're taking prices. Yeah.
If it's saying your returns are going to be 337,000, but oh no, you broke our terms and conditions, it's 100,000. Why don't the computer then be told to recognise it and change your stake to what their maximum payout is on that event and to avoid confusion or disappointment?
Yeah.
But we know why, because they're ripping people off.
Because obviously, if the bet goes down, they aren't going to say
no,
that should have been limited to a tenner each way.
No,
each 40 quid back.
Well, exactly. They're just ripping customers off because they're just taking the money, knowing full well that they've overstaked on the bet and they've lowered their odds in doing so. They've lowered the value of the bet. So it's down to the punter to maybe find this out, what the maximum payout is, and obviously don't fucking stake too much.
But this is what was said years ago, wasn't it? I think it was, if 80% of punters improve their approach by 5%, the bookies would be fucked.
Yeah.
You can say that would be about right, really.
Yeah. We move on. I hope that connections get more than what they're going to get. I hope they pay the full amount. I really do. I hope Entain decides it's a PR exercise.
They might invite him to the gym crack dinner instead or something.
It would be only funny if Bob Ogden was still alive, John.
Yeah.
Off to Bob's party afterwards.
Then it was the ass crack dinner at Bob's, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
very good.
absolutely.
Fucking hell, yeah.
When Bob turned up at York that time, she was 19, weren't she? I think.
That was either her age or her IQ,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
This tall, leggy blonde, 19-year-old. I tell you,
I tell you, yeah.
Henry Hersham Westgate. You sound like a hurry, Henry. I
Mm.
watched ITV's The Opening Show for the first time in a
Yeah,
while.
Should get out more.
They now feature a professional tipster, Tom Collins. Is he any
Okay.
good?
That's a drink, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite nice of Tom Collins.
Oh yeah, Tom. Yeah, it is a drink, isn't it?
Tom
Yeah.
Collins,
Tom
yeah.
Collins. Yeah. Is it
Wow.
raspberry and vodka?
Don't know. We're going to Google it now. Pretend we know what it is. What's a
Anyway.
Tom Collins? See how much of an alcoholic
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
really are. Let's have a look. Problem drinker. Oh, he's an MP as well. What's this fucking stupid Google search?
Alright.
Here you are. Classic gin-based cocktail that combines gin, lemon
No.
juice, and club soda and syrup. Mm.
So I'm not as bad as you think then.
Some lemony gin then, isn't it?
Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah, we all learned something. Yes.
Have you seen this fella?
No.
No, I
Right.
haven't. I've never heard of him.
idea. Sure, he's a nice man.
Never ever heard of him.
Yep.
Yeah, but he might be. Yeah, he might be really
Well,
good.
probably is a nice fella.
That is real name.
Oh, Tom Collins or Henry Hersham Westgate.
Yeah, that's a real
Oh,
name,
yeah.
isn't it? Fucking hell.
Yeah.
They might be sacking him and employing Ron Bacardi next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Ron Bacardi.
Captain Morgan as well's on next week. Yeah, good old Captain Morgan.
Talking about the Tory well, that's not on the Tories, it's Race for the Crown on Netflix, and Grumpy Punter's been on. The Tory skint, when he went to the USA with his one-bedroom flat, looked totally fed up most of the time. Has anyone watched it yet?
No.
No, I haven't even got Netflix.
Do you feel like you want to watch it?
No,
We're really miserable.
boring.
Do you know when it come out this week? I said to you, like, we better watch this because we get questions
Yeah.
on it. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
fucking hell.
I can't be bothered.
I ain't got
Well, even if I had
I ain't got time
Netflix,
for
I
that
wouldn't watch shit. That load of old shit. I don't care about jockeys and trainers. I just want to bet winners. Because fuck them. They're no more or less interesting.
You want
than
information?
I want warm stuff. That's what we want. Warm stuff. That's all we want.
Information is all you.
Information. Yeah.
Smiler 57, Captain Black, the voice of the Mistron.
Oh, yes. No, it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like
Yeah,
it. Now
the
we're
inventor.
warming up now. Yeah.
Who? He used to go like, "This is the
This is
voice
the voice
of
of
the
the
Brilliant.
Mistron."
That's fucking brilliant, John. Whoever that was, I felt I
Yeah.
was there for a moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly.
Captain Scarlet, brilliant.
Captain Scarlet. Yeah, go on.
I know I get yum in that later. That's a good title tune, that from Jerry Anderson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant stuff, Gary Anderson. Phenomenal.
I prefer Joe Nancy's theme tune, actually.
Did you?
Yeah, I thought Joe Nancy himself was shit. I like the theme tune.
Honestly. The theme tune that bosses them all
Joe
was
Nancy.
Fireball XL5. That was the bollocks of a theme tune. I thought it was tremendous.
Yeah.
We should
yeah.
play that on it.
We're reminiscing here, but his real question is,
Yes.
who thinks the exchanges were or have been good for the sport? That's a really good question.
What's that got to do with Captain Scarlet?
I don't know. He perhaps likes that and wanted that mention.
He's probably tripping or
You
something,
know.
isn't he? I say he's off his nut. Yeah. Okay.
Captain Black, Burt Black. It was Burt Black.
Oh,
weren't it, that
right.
invented
Yeah,
it?
of course it was. Yeah, I see the link. Very good.
How dumb we are.
A career in regional TV for him, I think. Good link, yeah.
Nuance here. No echo chamber shit here. Were the exchanges good or bad for the sport itself? Might have been good for us, but was it good for the sport?
Would have been good for the sport if the sport had its own exchange and wrestle
Correct.
metal when the time was right.
Yeah.
Right
Well
answer.
done, John. That's the model answer. That is the answer.
That's like University Challenge buzzing that.
Start
yeah.
of the 10.
Yeah.
Like hopeless university.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leng approved
Mutton
school.
chop,
Yeah.
Oxford Imperial. Yes.
Yeah, Ballstool, yeah.
Lane Borstal. That is the answer. That is the only answer. It would have been if it would have been in the BHA's hands because that way, or not necessarily, but working for the industry and putting.
And the point was at the time they had the capital fund to float it as well, and they
Yeah.
could have gone interest free and blown all the others out the water.
Yep, absolutely. No foresight from anyone in modern industry, as we know, in our sport.
No.
Mark says, any updates on the affordability check situation that you can mention? Well, obviously, you know what I'm up to a degree. I've mentioned on the past show that I got involved with Matt Zarb, cousin to much criticism. But there will be movement mid-May. serious movement in mid-May. So I can't say any more than that for now. But please
Well, you
stay
couldn't even
tuned.
say it then. You said mid-movement in mid-May.
Yeah, I can't say fuck all. So anyway, mid-May is when you're going to see things go up to another level, where I'll probably get slagged off from pillar to post anyway. I don't care.
Yep.
Chris Taylor, how does Dave Yates get away with making a living? Absolute bellend.
Well, we had our say last week on him, didn't we?
Yeah, there's not a lot more to add. I mean, you listened to last
No.
week, sure. It is what it is. It's gravy train. It's gravy, folks. They like the gravy.
Yeah.
Neil Watson, with today being the Pope's funeral,
Yeah.
some smoke blowing there.
Yeah, white smoke.
That's when they get a new Pope, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a white smoke, isn't it? When the
Yeah.
papal enclave or whatever.
Yeah. Who in racing deserves a full state funeral and who would get a pauper's one?
Jesus Christ.
None of them. I'd put them out for the dogs. Chop them up or stick them in
Who in
bin bag.
racing deserves a full state funeral? John, there must be someone in racing that you think is fucking a good one. Must be someone.
Yeah. Claire Ellison, because she does a fantastic breakfast after a work morning.
That'll do.
Yeah.
That's good enough.
That's all John's ever wanted, to marry Delia Smith. That's all he's ever wanted.
I don't know about Delia Smith.
More Nigella, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Who would get a pauper's one?
Well, everybody else.
Yeah.
Us. Yeah.
Yeah.
We get put in bin bag.
We'll get one in real life.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, fucking unmarked grave, yeah.
You know that one for 800 quid they'll take you?
So a cremation, yeah. They basically just blast you with a blowtorch.
Stick you in a bin bag.
Coffee.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're ending up.
Strip everything off your bones and then smash the shit out of you with a hammer.
Absolutely. Right. 3 questions to go before we end this shit, I think.
Well,
it's getting good now. Getting better.
Just starting to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Steve Mustard. That's your real surname. Let me know, because I love that.
Brilliant.
Is that Pat Mustard's son?
Yeah, Steve Mustard.
Yes.
I love that saying when somebody asks
That's
me,
mustard days.
you fancy that's mustard today? Mustard.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That is a good expression.
He said, will Chris have Red Adair on standby during the recording of this week's show? Younger listeners may have to look.
No. If I go up in flames, I don't want anyone to put me out. Not that there would be anyone rushing to put my flames out, but no, I'll quite happily burn to death, I think, next time. Honestly.
Yeah, I think John summed it up on social media when he says we're going to get Keys going off Niagara Falls in a barrel on a show. And on Whit Monday that you, Chris, would be run over by a herd of bison.
Trampled to death by a herd of bison.
Yeah, they'll do that, yeah. Honestly, I'll do anything for publicity, honestly.
But we're all about the ratings these days.
It's only about the ratings. It's for clicks and likes.
It's only ratings.
Clicks and likes.
Clickbait TV,
that's as that ITV.
We're taking a leaf out of Noel Edmonds' book.
2 to go, and then we're done for another week. Now, before we get the last 2 questions, because we know you like the last 2 questions, Probo, we've got a Guineas pod coming out this week. Comes out on Thursday for Patreon members. It's £9 plus VAT. It's the best £9 plus VAT you'll ever spend just to get the basic services. We do tipping services as well that are extremely successful over time. We appreciate your support if you will support us, because it stops us becoming gravy train, as in taking the bookmaker pound.
Yeah.
We don't want the bookmaker pound. We want to slag them off.
Yeah.
By the way, anyone that is listening to this that does support us on Patreon, we thank you so much. So please consider that, because it's out Thursday night for Patreon members. It will be out free on Friday. As always, we do look after the free-to-air listeners as well, because we appreciate your support, as always, listening to the sermon.
We call them the parasites, don't we? That's the technical term. Fucking leeches stuck in us white, bleeding us dry.
Yes.
Bast. Yeah.
You know who you are.
Yeah. Millions of them.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Bert Doncaster, worst job you've ever had?
God. McDonald's.
Would you say McDonald's, Chris?
Yeah, McDonald's. Not that it's necessarily a bad environment. I have a huge amount of respect for the young kids that work in McDonald's. But for me, I found it physically exhausting, and you have no idea. See, there's never a quiet moment in McDonald's because it's such a big franchise, big brand name. It's constant, and I think after 4 hours, it's just anyone over the age of like 30, I think is like clinically dead. It's so busy, but it's not a great environment if you're quite lazy like I am.
Mine would be when I was younger. I'd left college doing my A level. I was thinking, what am I going to do now? Because I work for my dad on course sometimes, but that's not going to pay the bills. I ain't got a full-time job in racing at that point. I used to bet, of course, but when you're that age, you haven't got the money to bet big, so to turn it over, so to speak. So I took a sales job trying to sell Kirby vacuum cleaners. I don't remember the brand Kirby. They were a very expensive vacuum cleaner. And so what Kirby did was get you appointments. You had to go around suited and booted to see old ladies and whoever.
Trying to sell them orthopedic beds for $9,000. Yeah, I know your game. Yeah, we've all done it.
And I hated it because although they'd accepted the appointment, either I was a shit salesman.
Don't want it.
They ain't paying. I think it's something stupid like $3,000 for this vacuum
Yeah.
cleaner that's a different class. How the fuck do you get someone to buy a $3,000 vacuum cleaner?
People do though. There are good salesmen like that will do it. But
I know, yeah.
I've done that sort of thing, and it's just horrible.
I found out after doing about a week of it, and because I was a student, I had to go everywhere on bus, and I lived in Sheffield at the time, and it was like Chesterfield. I'd got to get on a bus to Chesterfield and bussing around Chesterfield all day because there might be 4 appointments in that area, and it's like, oh my God. And I have to walk like 2 miles between certain appointment houses or whatever. And then when you get into the hand in your face saying, nah, you're all right, man. I just had enough. I had no sales on my first week. And I just went, this is just shit. I admire salespeople that are successful because it's not an easy job. John?
I took a job after I walked out of college. I did 3 weeks at college after school.
3 weeks.
Alumni, yeah.
Before I finally 3 weeks in, I got thoroughly sick of it and decided to leave. Then, of course, I realised I had no income whatsoever. And I took a job as a plumber's mate on a building site at Colby Newham near Middlesbrough, where they were building a new leisure centre. I spent 3 weeks working in a void, red leading some brackets that were going to hold some heating pipes up, crawling in this void on my hands and knees for 3 weeks. When I finally decided, well, that's it, enough's enough. It was good money for my age because I was only 16, and I think I was getting about £400 a week for doing this stupid fucking work. Once I hit the magic grand, I just didn't go in anymore. I couldn't really stand it.
£400 a week? Fucking hell. What were you putting? Gold pipes? How long ago was that?
Oh, ages ago. Ages.
That's a proper whack, that was, wasn't it? That was a proper whack then, wasn't it?
It was a big project. The contracts were fantastic, as were in the industry, but it was horrible work. Crawling in this fucking void. Never started.
This were in the days where it was 10p to get on a bus.
I know. He's a millionaire. Look at him, like the Aga Khan, isn't he? Fucking 400 notes a week.
That was basically why I could just up and leave. I've got plenty for 6 months,
You got a year's work in 2 weeks, isn't it? Yeah.
To be honest, I can understand John because even nowadays, if you want John to do something, you've got to be fucking. He wants some fucking motivation and some wonga to get motivated to do it. He fucking rather watch fucking snooker than what else I think at the minute. Oh, by the way, John, has your Zhang Anda gone on? He's had a mare on it. Out.
He's had a terrible mare. He played his 1 game in the competition earlier this week. He looked completely devoid of confidence and all ability. Apologies to anybody who followed me in. I will never ever tip him for any sort of snooker competition ever again. He was absolutely abject. My tipping was abject. I'm going to shut the fuck up about snooker on Bastards.
It's only one bet, mate. You were about a fucking 66ers poke, weren't you? Something?
Know your limits.
Yeah.
That's what I was saying.
Well, anyway, one question to go. Phileas Foghorn says, have the two of you ever strongly, I presume he means me and you, strongly disagreed about a horse or something betting related? And has it ever got heated?
Heated?
Where the fuck was it? What? I couldn't be bothered to fucking disagree strongly anyway.
No, I couldn't think of anything really. It's one of them when we do the tipping service, like opinions and we have to agree on certain things and disagree on other things. But yeah, I don't think there's ever been anything like particularly heated.
No, why would there be?
If you've got a different opinion, me and John are simple, really. John will just back his opinion and I'll back mine, and that's how it is. Put it this way, I'll guarantee you, right, Phileas, I cannot change John's mind if he's set on something. I will not be able to say something unless you might think, oh, fucking, he might be right about ground or something like that. I will not be able to change John's opinion on something. And I think vice versa.
Yeah.
That's what makes the game, isn't it?
For me, the only people you like where it gets hated is people that you know are talking absolute fucking shit.
Yeah.
And you tend not to get that from people that's in the game full time. It's surprising, really, how often you are singing off the same sheet because there's only one sensible option a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It's very hard to envisage situations where either of us would offer up an alternative to something.
Yeah.
Usually the people offering up the alternative to the way we're thinking is the fucking BHA.
Yes.
I mean, that gets heated, obviously.
Yeah, there's certain things we do have opinions on in the industry, and it does, because obviously it's sport we love. But
I do think you sort of, in life anyway, you gravitate towards people that share your point of view on certain things.
Yeah.
It would be very hard if you spent all your life surrounded by people with conflicting points of view on everything.
It's called getting married,
you
John.
probably
That's
got
what
crap.
marriage is, mate. Yeah, marriage is that.
Yeah.
Spending your life with someone who disagrees with you all the time.
We did stats the other day, right? We must be absolute buggers because 97% of our listeners are men.
Really? We don't appeal to the sort of the cheerleader demographic then, as we fondly imagine. No. So the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders aren't.
No, Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders hate us. Charlotte
Oh.
Russell loves us. She's the 2.7%, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Oh, God.
It's Guineas Week this week, folks. So give us a subscribe on Patreon and you'll get some plenty of knowledge from all of us. I hope you have a great week. And don't forget, podcast this weekend, Guineas preview and sermon as normal on Sunday. Have a good one. Bye for now.